I'm joined now by MSNBC senior politics editor Beth and Third Way senior vice president Matt Bennett, director of Americans for Gun Safety, also former White House deputy assistant in the Clinton administration. And Matt, I'll start with you here. What do you make of what we just heard there from Senator Booker?
I think it's exactly right. It's what you're hearing from all of the Democratic 2020 hopefuls. And look, they're on to something. That people are absolutely apoplectic this week. This is much different than what we've seen in response to Trump's kind of normal, kind of run-of-the-mill, ridiculous behavior. This is something fundamentally different, where we have this manifesto that is obviously done in response to things that he was hearing from the president, and it is absolutely appropriate for Democrats running for president to make that a central issue in their campaign against him.
Beth, I want to play something that Joe Biden said in a new interview, and I believe this is the interview with Anderson Cooper. Take a listen.
Do you blame the president in part for what happened in El Paso?
I don't. What I do is his rhetoric contributes to this notion that it almost legitimates people coming out from under the rocks. I mean, this is white nationalism. This is terrorism of a different sort, but it's still terrorism.
I mean, it almost sounds like there, Beth, Vice President Biden is saying correlation, maybe not necessarily causation, while some of the other 2020 candidates are saying, no, the president's rhetoric led directly to the deaths. What do you make of what appears to be a bit of more of a nuanced view?
Yeah. Well, so you had Eric Swalwell on before, who was really, when he was running for president, was the candidate who wanted to make gun control the centerpiece of his platform. And as you know, he's our first sort of major candidate to drop out of the race. But so Cory Booker is sort of trying to pick it up as being the issue that he runs on. It's been something that's been a big feature of his campaign right from the beginning. He put out a very expansive plan talking about how if he were president, gun owners would be required to be licensed, which is, you know, fairly kind of hot issue for a lot of gun owners, but he's gone right there. Tomorrow he's going to go to Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, where of course the terrible church shooting by Dylan Roof, a white supremacist, took place 4 years ago. A little risky. That's kind of sacred ground for a lot of people, but he wants to own this issue, and he wants to remind people that this has been a feature of our politics for quite some time. So a couple of these candidates really going hard in on guns. As you said, Vice President Biden, who's very much the front runner in this race, taking a little bit more of a nuanced turn, but he did come out yesterday saying he would want to renew the assault weapons ban, which of course existed in the 90s. He want to bring that back, and he says he wants to do an assault weapon buyback program, which is pretty out there for him.
But is Beth, guns, I mean, you know, obviously we're talking about it now because of what happened over the weekend, but is it the kind of issue that can galvanize voters in a presidential race? It
can galvanize certain voters, very much so. Certainly suburban voters, suburban women in particular, are very motivated by the gun issue, and younger voters who previously in the past we haven't seen vote in the same kind of numbers as older voters, often who are more conservative. But poll after poll shows that suburban women in particular and young voters are very motivated by the gun issue. That's a big sea change from even just 5 years ago.
So, Matt, we've been talking about Senator Booker. Meanwhile, Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, he rolled out his action plan this morning. He said that if he was president, he'd call for $1 billion for law enforcement agencies to specifically counter white nationalism. He said, among other things, that he would demand cooperation between counterterror groups, identify and limit online hate speech, universal background checks for gun buyers, assault weapons ban, high-capacity magazine ban as well. Matt, what part of Buttigieg's plan do you see as the most feasible? What part would be the most critical?
Well, it's really hard to know exactly what's feasible. I mean, I've been in the gun debate for 20 years, really, since I was working in the White House after Columbine and then at Americans for Gun Safety. We have been trying to do the kinds of things that Pete Buttigieg was talking about on guns for 20 years. We haven't had a significant gun bill pass in Congress since 1994, so that's been 25 years. So feasible really depends on the political state that we're in after the 2020 election. If a Democrat wins the White House, if Democrats are able to take control of the Senate, then we might see some real action on gun policy. The only time that America has passed federal gun laws is 1968, 1993, and 1994. what those things have in common is the Democrats control the White House and both houses of Congress. It may take that before we see really significant policy like the type that Pete Buttigieg and others are talking about.
Matt Bennett, thank you, sir. Beth Foy, always good to have you, my friend. Thank you. Not